Please give a warm welcome to the stage Sister Sabria, founder of Sister Sabria Foundation Canada, accompanied by the President of Putra Student Association, Brother Azim Harun, as our moderator for today's sharing session.
So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'd. Yang berbahagia, first and foremost, thank you my MCs for today, Sister Sharina and Brother Hussein. First and foremost, a warm welcome to Yang Amat Berhormat Dato Seri, DiRaja Dr. Zambry Kadir, Menteri Besar Perak. Yang Berhormat Dato Seri Abdullah Puhat bin Manaya, State Secretary of Perak. Yang berbahagia Profesor Datin Paduka Datuk Dr. Aini Idris, Vice Chancellor of University Putra Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Zulkarnain Yusof, President and Chief Executive Officer of Putra Business School, UPM. Perak States ex-officials and ex-cos, Dato, Datin, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So, today we are lucky enough to have two people to give us some good inputs. The first one was the MD of Perak, Dato Sri DiRaja. He talked about how to make people coming out poverty by giving them mileage in terms of how they can get money, and from there how they can build their wealth. But today we're going back to the basics with Sister Sabria. We're going to talk about why is it important for us to give to the needy. Because the main idea here, as what our Vice Chancellor was talking about, is that to instill the feeling, the need for us to make a change. So by understanding the need of others, the people who are in malaise, they're in the situation where they are not having whatever they need to live, will prompt us to change our ways and become somebody who can contribute back to the society. So, first and foremost, I would like to say that it's a privilege to have Sister Sabria here. Actually, what happened was, it's not that we intended her to come at first, because if to pay her for her flight ticket is going to be really expensive. It's just that a team from Putra Business School, headed by Dr. Razman, we were in Montreal, and we had to say thank you to Yang Amat Berhormat Menteri Besar, because he actually sponsored the team to go to Montreal. And then when we were there, we took a chance to meet up with Sister Sabria. Through the weather was that time was -20 Celsius, so we had to walk all the way. And alhamdulillah, when we were there, Sister Sabria gave us mi hong goreng. And during that time, we were there around 7 days. And during that 7 days, we were eating raw rice, because the hotel people don't know how to make rice. So when we went there, we got the nicest meal, a Malaysian meal. So everyone of us was very happy. And we know that she was coming to Malaysia, so said, why not? We have her here. And we know that the Menteri Besar is going to come. So we took the opportunity to make sure that it's within that time. So we are privileged. It's not just because of that, because previously, maybe later you were going to rectify this, when the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, wanted to meet up with Sister Sabria, she had to decline the offer, because she said that during that time she has other things to do. So for her to choose to come here and talk to us means that we are, we should quote this properly, we are more important than Justin Trudeau. Thank you so much. But maybe later on she's going to clarify about that. So just a big background about our Sister Sabria. She has worked as a humanitarian for a long time. She has been in Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, and she has worked in Montreal for more than 30 years or so. She's married to a Canadian. We met up with her husband. It's Michel Ali, but we call him Mr. Ali, and he speaks Malay very much. And she's here today for 3 months because she's going to promote some events. So alhamdulillah, she was on television for several times, and she promoted UPM event last time, right? So what happened was Sister Sabria went viral last year, at the end of the year, where we watched through social medias to Zinc video, where we got to know the Mother Teresa of Montreal, who apparently is a Malay. So we were like, what? So, but this thing happened before that. So what we have now is a video back in 2004 that we want to show everyone, and so it's just to show how long this has happened. So we just want to show all of you the video, and then from there we'll go on with our session. Right. So Mike, can you please?
Well, the Muslim holy month of Ramadan ends tomorrow, and Eid, a festival featuring lots of food, begins. Ramadan is a time for prayer, charity, and fasting. Many Muslims don't eat or drink from sunrise to sunset. This morning, a story about a woman at Concordia University in Montreal who has an important job during the holy month. She works with the Muslim Students Association there to feed hundreds of fasting students.
Okay? It's mid-afternoon at the Concordia University cafeteria, and Sabria Hussein has just over 2 hours to finish preparing enough food to feed 700 hungry students, an enormous task that she tackles every single day during Ramadan.
At times, I feel that I'm playing the role of a mother, an aunt, or grandmother. And most of the students are international students, and they really need this type of atmosphere.
Hussein is a devout Muslim, and for the last 4 years she's been volunteering at Concordia and preparing all of this food so the Muslim students have enough to eat when they break their day-long fast at sunset.
I do it for the sake of pleasure, and also it's not for anybody else, but for my satisfaction. Because as I've said, I was brought up, as a little girl. I grew up in this kind of environment, so it's nothing new to me. But still, it's my satisfaction.
Hussein isn't alone in the kitchen. She does get help from students like Ismail Al-Hussein.
Yes, I come here every day actually. I work here, I've been working since the beginning of Ramadan, volunteering until then. I'm helping my community, I'm helping their community, I'm helping everyone around me. Why not, right? It's all about collective responsibilities and values.
They are like my children, so they come one after the other. And as you have seen today, like it's very peaceful, and because they know that what to expect from me and what I expect of them. Right now, this is mincemeat, right? And I'm just we're going to turn it into rolls, and we call it meat roll. I added ginger and lipstick spices. And the boys outside, they really love that, and they asked me to do it again for this Friday. So that's how I come to the idea that I have to make again for this week. Some ladies, even non-Muslims, they come up to us and say, do you have extra food today? And of course we say, we always have something. Even if I don't have, I will fix something fast so that they won't go hungry.
I've been here, I guess, 5 times. I think it's an unbelievable service that's offered to students. I think it's amazing that a club underneath the Concordia Student Union could put this together every single night. It's always packed. There's so many students here, so many students enjoying it, and I think it's a beautiful event that they do.
After 10 hours of continuous cooking, Hussein is ready to see the fruits of her labor. It's time to break the fast.
Sister Sabria, she's an amazing sister. Yeah, she's really an amazing woman. Actually, I'm amazed at how good she is. Any problems we have with the cooking, she's always there to solve it. Anything we have, she's always there to actually, to like any gaps we have in between, she always tries to close it up.
Hussein says she cooks for her own pleasure in helping others, even though she admits it's tiring work.
At times, yes, I do feel in a way, towards the end of the day when I was about to sleep, that is the time when I think my body tells me, okay, today, this is the time to rest. And it will be then like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Time of resting is the time of my prayer. I think that is the best time that I have the time for myself. So I'll sit down and I meditate a little, and that is soothing for me. It is, I guess it's for my soul, and I'm very satisfied with that.
Okay. So that was 2004. And now, we bring forward 2018, you're already 70 years old.
Yeah.
And you're doing this for the people. what made you felt that this is something that you want to do? Maybe you can tell us and listen. Thank you.
I guess I have to begin with Assalamu alaikum to everybody. Alhamdulillah to all the respected guests and dignitaries and my dear brothers and sisters in the audience. And yes, what inspired me, I think it's from my roots. It's from my, I should say, grandparents, because my father was number 14, and when my grandmother had to sell chickens and to take care of all the siblings, and because my grandfather passed away, and it was then in Singapore, and with that, I think attitude of caring that my grandmother already inspired, to the children. I guess that brings about the atmosphere already there and then that my father might have picked up from his mother. He's always on the go to help people. So when it come to us, we were six. You don't have a picture of my family, no? The siblings. And with that, my late parents would adopt more orphans, the people without the children in the village, without the father met an accident or so. So we end up with having 20 of us in the family. Instead of just 6 of us, we were 20. And there begin to learn so many things that we have to share, either the dreams or the clothes, passing from one to the other, from my eldest sis to my second, and I'm the third. So, in the end, and we have to share almost practically everything, right? This kind of feeling, like appreciation for whatever Allah has given us, is being, I think, rooted in us, even with my sisters. So I should say that my parents played a very important part in my life for this inspiration, this kind of feeling of oneness and love and compassion for others. And as a matter of fact, when I was I joined the one of the churches that's called Rivers Edge Community Kitchen and Community Church. There was one particular guy, he's homeless, and he has really, he's being bullied by others, I should say. But each time he's been bullied and he will come to me, I'll give him a drink or something. And he was taken aback, with our kindness from the kitchen. So each time he had some problems, he will call for me. And he would say, "Sister, where are you? Sister, such and such a person bullying me." But sometimes I question him because he was always drunk. So obviously, these other homeless people also bullied him. So one day when he was really, he came bleeding, and I used to clean the wounds and bandage him. So from there we have this bond, this kind of bond in friendship. So what happened next is, like, almost every day that I was there, he would be searching for me. So one day, because of as I've said, the bond, and he was always searching, "Where's my sister? Where's my sister?" So, and they're from the church, right? And they still call me sister, and I have the bishop from that so I call him father. So father and sister, I don't know which is which to follow. But however, what I'm trying to say is, one day, his name is Dave Nicholas. So what happened is he came in running and searching for me, and the others I saw 2-3 guys were chasing after him. So when they chased after him, he said, "Sister, where are you, sister? They tried to hit me again." So I told him, "Dave, why are they trying to search for you and hitting you all the time? What did you do this time?" He said, "I saw that nice bicycle was right there, so I just trying to, examine it and then sit on it to test. They thought I'm going to steal." I said, Because the other guy then sounded, well, because before he used to steal the other friend's bicycle. So it's among the homeless people, this kind of attitude is nothing new. So one day when I was all the time feeding him and he wanted some specials, sometimes I sent it for his home. And so one day I heard of a crash outside, like something happened. So they were screaming and they say that he passed away with an accident. So I was taken aback and I didn't know what to say, but the bond is still there. Because even before his death, he was mentioning sister. And they know that it was me, nobody else but me. So that kind of bond, because of my passion for this kind of work, and I guess, he deserves to be treated as another being, as another human being with respect. And as the Muslim was saying, we leave it to Allah to judge him, not us. So we cannot be judgmental. So that one inspired me to do more and love more people and give more, inshallah.
So this is a picture of your family.
Oh my God. That's I don't know if anybody can know which one is Sabria, the most mischievous one, that is true at the end. Right at the end, that was when I was barely 6, 7 years old, when I was always sharing and I was fed up, and I even told to the medias that I had to share, and one day I was really, really upset having to share this Orange Crush. All is a luxury those days. So what I did is having to share, and before the stick going round with the bottle going round and round, and I come to me, and then I had just a little sip. So I was very nervous and upset, and I went up to my friend, Ma, if I grow up, Mama, saya kalau besar besok dah kahwin, saya nak beli Orange Crush ni, nak minum seorang saja. I want to be alone. Mama juga saya said, why tunggu sampai dah kahwin? Tak payah tunggu kahwin. Dia ambil, give me the pocket. Go to the shop now and go and buy, and don't come back with a bottle. Just stay there, finish your drink and come back. And I did. That's what I ran, very happily, jubilantly, I ran to the shop and I said, today my mom gave me a special attention, and she loves me a great deal. Among all the others, among all the 20, I felt so special. So I tried to drink, right? Okay, I would drink, as a little girl of that age. So I drank once, twice only. The third one, I saw my siblings, the faces of my sisters. Kak Long, Kak Nga, Kak Putra, all these faces come out one by one. I closed the thing and I ran back with the bottle. So my mom, she asked me, why do you have to come back? Why didn't you finish that bottle I told you? But you really wanted to do it. I said, tak boleh lah, Ma. I cannot do it. And then my mom asked me, why? And then she said, because I saw all these faces in front of me lining up, for the sip. And my mom said, Inshallah, when you grow up, you will be a barakah child. Inshallah, you will do something great in your life, and Allah will appreciate that. And he was giving me a big hug, and I never forget that day. And this is one of the inspirations, inshallah. I was happy for that, inshallah.
So the feeling of giving came from when you were a kid?
Yes.
And then it grew and grew and grew?
Yeah, it becomes part and parcel of my life.
So throughout you giving up food, giving people shelters, I heard that you had a near-death experience.
Yes.
So could you share that experience with us?
Yes, I guess it was way back in 2005. Also, what was it? Tsunami. When was that? 2004. Okay, 2004 there was tsunami, and we were told when I attended the RIS conference, the Revival Islamic Spirit in Toronto. So what happened was they announced late, right? So when I came back to Montreal, we had to make a fast decision because the government announced that if we manage to get a substantial sum, then they will double it. Like, for example, if we make 100,000, we'll get 200,000 from them. So I was very happy. So we made this fundraising. We were selling ice creams on the street to Concordia students, how to manage to maintain this kind of the budget that we had limited. So I went to the chocolate factory and asked, if they can give me a good price. They gave me only 25 cents those days for a bar of chocolate. So the students, my gave students Concordia, and I think even the French universities, they were helping to sell on the street for just $2. So that means I managed to get from 25 to $2, and we end up having like 18,000 just for that chocolate. So going back to that, I was obviously deadly tired. So I came back home, and I told my husband, I'm so tired, I want to sleep, so don't even answer the call. I really wanted to sleep. So, is that so? Oh yeah. Anyway, I think some of the audience don't know him. So anyway, where was I? Sorry. Yeah, I was very, very, of course, because it's a big event, and we managed to get 250,000 those days, like 2004, and we managed to secure, what do you call that, clinic in the wheels. What is it? Mobile clinics, right? So we send people from there later on, from the mosque, to go and join Indonesia and to give them 21 mobile clinics. We bought that. Alhamdulillah. So going back to my story, so I was very, very tired. So I told him not to wake me up, so he didn't wake me up. So when I got up from my sleep and I told him, oh, I slept very, long, for how many hours did I sleep? He said, hours? I don't think so. If you check the computer, when was your last year? I checked, it was on the 7th, the night that we had, and I got up on the 11th. So it was like how many days of sleep that I had, but it was not sleep. The doctor realized later I was in a coma because I was so tired. But however, comes the second time, this is true, the following year, and I was gasping for my breath because I think you guys have to learn also that what are the signs. Because I felt that there was like ants, like a termite moving onto my head, right? At first here, and then it went down onto my left. Then I realized that it was not ants that was on my head. And my husband was in the washroom. I kicked the door and tell him to come because I felt that it's getting heavier on my lap. Heavier and heavier, and I couldn't move, and I told him, put me on the bed. When he came out from the washroom, he put me in the bed, and I fell down again. Then we were rushed to the hospital, and they found that, yes, there was something that's going to, because I had tachycardia. I have tachycardia right now, meaning, I think you're a doctor, tachycardia and cytosympathesis. My heart is on my right. And the other organs too, part of the organs is on my left. So this vice versa. So the doctors were concerned, and then they say that this is a particular patient that we really have to take care of her because she has a history of, So they sent me to the for brain scanning. So of course, when I was in there, I was still aware. So the noises from the machine, like it's very loud and clear, tum 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 tum, all different kinds of noises. But I was still reading, and my hands were shaking. I was like trying to confront that atmosphere. So when I came out, the doctor was shaking his head, and I said, "What's wrong, doctor? Have I got something wrong with me?" Then the doctor said, "No, but you had a stroke before, did you?" I said, "No." And then she said, "Well, there is a brain clot. There is a blood clot in your brain." Then he said, he realized it's more than a year. Then I said, that was the time when I was asleep, right? He said, yes. So we traced back in history, that is my second stroke. So I was like struggling for my breath, and I stayed there for the next 10 days. And I survived until today, alhamdulillah. Of course, with the blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I was facing death like twice, right?
Even though with that, you still moved on. You still do all those, all the cookings and stuff. And I heard you even were trapped.
Yes, that's right. I was trapped. We had a long day, in a long day summer camp in Ontario with the school, Muslim Student Association. We were a group of, I think, 180 students plus animators, could be around close to 200. We were far away, and they have a walking fridge to have all this, what do you call that, ready for us for the breakfast and lunch and dinner, right? I was the chef there, and I have, of course, my other people who are around me. So what happened is, I checked my menu. I got up in the middle of the night, then I realized that I had to cook chicken the following day. So what happened is, I said, oh my God, I'm not ready because the chicken is still in the freezer. I have to go in and get, and there was nobody in the premises. It was, the other students were in their cabins, and the animators were with them. So I was basically alone. I went to the freezer, took the box, the first box, I went to the fridge, put there, because it has to be thawed, right? And then the second box, and third box. In the fourth box, I find that the door is slammed shut, the freezer, and walk-in freezer. So what did I do? I put the box, I went straight to do my tayammum, and said, in the praise of Allah Ta'ala, to open the door for me, otherwise I'll be dead all alone. So I know something like that will happen. When I check my time, coincidentally I put the watch that shows the time in the dark, and I saw it was 2:30. So I was shivering, but of course now and then I went to try to open. I tried to open the door. It was that big. I could show, but I don't know how ridiculous they are. Those days that that they didn't even design in such a way that whoever got trapped inside can open and run out, or for their life. But there was no such thing. It was just plain, flat handle with nothing. So obviously, what do? Again, I have to pray. And of course, in my prayer, I pray again and again, asking Allah to help me to be out of the fridge, the freezer, because I have lots of commitments to do. Especially Ramadan is approaching. I told Allah, Ya Allah, if you take me now, who's going to cook for those hundreds of people, the needy, the homeless? I was crying literally and asking Him for forgiveness and asking for, to take me out from this mess, this total mess in a sense. And when I was praying, I think the 15th time I tried, I couldn't. So I went to do it again. And I thought, Ya Allah, I know the story of the Akaf, the story, and relating to 3 people who were in dire need of help. And when the rock, I think, was blocking the cave, right? I think many of you are familiar with that story. So I told my part of my story. I said, I did a lot for you, Allah, but of course you only know. I'm not going to tell others, because those days I didn't want to be my work to be publicized. I remained myself. I like to stay that way, and I asked for help, and however, about 10 minutes I was there just in the state of sujood. Then I said, if you are not going to help me, then who will? It's your power. It is you who are empowered to do whatever you can. And I promise you, in this state of sujood, if I'm out from here, I hope to do more for you. And of course, it's only for you. So with that, I was shivering. And again, I was relating that struggle up again and saying how sincere they were, that you have opened your heart. And me, with sincerity, I asked you for help. And I went there. It was already 3:10. So I was stuck there for about 40 minutes. And I was already shivering and cold. My hands were cold. I thought that was the end of me. So when I got up again, just to travel the last the final touch of the door, I thought that would be my last. When I just push open, it opens just for me to get up. So I did sujood right in front there and then in front of the door. And of course, we announced this morning we had to do Salatul Shukr for my safety. Alhamdulillah. Thank you.
That was a miracle, and I guess that really the pledge that you made, saying that you will be here and you will give back to society. But the thing is that what makes Sister Sabria unique is that the pledge is not only for one religion or one race, but it was like for everyone. You went to mosque, maybe you went to churches. Maybe you want to talk a bit about your activities in terms of what you have done and what you're going to do, things like that. Maybe Mike, you can open Sister Sabria's slide and she can talk through us what are the activities that she has done and she's going to do, so that at least we'll know, and at least if we think that we can contribute, by all means.
Yes, thank you. And you say you wanted to step in? Oh, this is the launching. This is towards the end of the launching program. But you have the one in churches. Okay, this is below the career. This is being sponsored by. This is like okay. This is where the launching program. Yeah. And that I think is Human Concern International is giving a speech, and this is the crowd. These brothers and this is from National Zakat Foundation. So because I run a shelter, so now the National Zakat Foundation is promised to take over the burden from me. So now that I'm spending like 2,300, which is what, about 10,000 Malaysian ringgit. So they promised to take over, so that will relieve me from having to spend. But how I did is every Friday before my shelter, the one that I run is a transition home, and they are allowed to stay between 2 to 3 weeks, or even a little more if they really need more time, until they are on the feet. The ladies in trouble, I'm talking about, whom we accommodate in our place. So, and usually whenever I do something, I told them that you help me and I'll help you too. So you help me by providing, your energy and help us to produce this food, and we can sell. So in this way, every Friday we sell in Ummah Mosque, the mosque called Ummah Mosque. They gave us opportunity to have this table for finger food sales. That's how we generate funds to be able to pay, for this cost. So we are self-sustained. So I realized at the end of the month there's always something, and we were not caught up with that. SubhanAllah, Allah is the ways, and then Allah has helped us through with this kind of financial, burden that I might face. So Alhamdulillah, so far we had no that, and even we have the Sadaqah Jariyah that comes along with anybody. And in Ramadan we have Zakat and also Zakat Putra and Zakat Fidya for those who cannot pray and cannot fast. So they will approach me, and these all help us. But I'm like they call me, my sisters there, they disturb me, or they joke when they call me Robin Hood, because I rob from the rich and I give to the poor. Because we have 3 mosques that are very rich. They're Saudi mosques, we call it, because they have a lot of money. So what happened is I charge them $6 per plate for Ramadan, and $6 with everything, like a complete meal. And with that, somehow or the other, I managed to cover up the other mosques that are dealing with needies and Syrian refugees and the people who are destitute, who really needs help. So we managed to cover up somehow. You see, this is all in Allah's hands. As I said, we think together, we work together, but it's Allah arranging for all the recipe. Alhamdulillah. So is there something else? Yeah. So this is for Ramadan, and we feed about 400 people in different mosques. That is in Ramadan, yeah? And so we collect all the zakat and zakatul mal. And yes, also the zakat of fitr, We just don't take the money and we give the money. No, we will. I have arrangement with a supermarket, a halal supermarket, and then this guy had been with me for about 20 years. So he will put his own part. He said, I will reduce your price. If I want to buy from somewhere, I have to have, and then with the GST and BST, I don't know what they have in the bag, and I have to pay more. But this time, because the owner is a Muslim, and he's, happily he joined force with me. We joined force and make boxes of food, and he will give me even extra meat and extra chicken. So the needy family, for Zakat al-Fitra, we turn into boxes of food. So we don't give the money unless I have extra money from the real. Like last year, we collected 22,000 Canadian. Just last year alone, 22,000 Canadian. So that being divided into, possibly we spend about $150 for each family. But if they have more, we put more money in there, more items. And alhamdulillah, it went so well. It's been like 22 years that I've been using the Zakat Fitra money to transform it into the boxes to be given to the poor. Alhamdulillah.
This is a picture of your volunteers.
Oh my God! Yeah, these are the pictures of the Ramadan volunteers, and I have more than that. They are I think 30 brothers and about 50 sisters who come and help us almost every day. There's somebody will arrange for the timing. How many? Like it's not one particular person the whole day. It's like they give us 2-3 hours, and somebody will check their duties and their responsibilities. If they sign up, they say they'll come on Monday, and she doesn't show up, and I just say, where is Asma, for example? And then somebody will call this girl and say, how come she's not here right now? It's already 10:15. She's supposed to be here at 10. So anyhow, that's how we worked out systematically, so I wouldn't feel myself in trouble. Yes, and yeah, do we have some more? Yeah, we feed the homeless and the destitute. This is in Bari Ukam. Bari Ukam, they have an annual festive dinner for, this is organized by the government, and it's Atsa. It's called Atsa, Bari Ukam. Atsa is dealing only with homeless people, and they have festive occasion yearly, annually, and then they will approach me for, of course, for free food, but I will find for my Muslim friends to get that budget to come up to feed about 400 to 500 people. And they were really, really happy. Even at one time, there was a stage show for them, and they announced, she said, did you hear of Islamophobia? Of course, they say yes, the others. And then they said, well, today we have our special sister who's cooking for us. So that particular food will erase that feeling of Islamophobia. Then they say, yeah, they gave us a standing ovation. That's how close we are to the public. Alhamdulillah. And then we have every Monday. This is the Rivers Edge Community Church. I've been working with them for about 10 years. And we feed about 110 to 120 people. This is where I found Dave. And Dave was hurt in there, and just outside the church where the accident happened. And this is St. George's Anglican Church. We feed the needy by making sandwiches. So with another Civitas, that is the volunteers from the church, as well as the volunteers from another group, a Muslim group called Peace Initiative. Peace Initiative, Brother Musabir, he's the one who organized like 300 sandwiches every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks. We go to the street and give to the homeless in downtown. And there we have also a special shop. Just they sell for 20-30 cents for any pants or something that they might require, the homeless. So as long as they feel that they are paying something, just to make them feel that money is value of money. So we don't want to give them for free all the time. Inshallah. Then we have I think these are all in front of the church. That is Steve, Father Steve. He's a good friend of Sabra, the Muslim Imam and from our organization, the Sabra Alam. As a matter of fact, inshallah, I got a gift from the group that to go for Hajj this year. So he's bringing us for Hajj this year. He's organizing Hajj. And then, yes, this is where they were preparing. This is all happening in the church in downtown Montreal. Yeah? Yeah, we will work very hard together.
I remember that you said that before you came here, you had a meeting with the rabbis.
Yes, that was the last day of my flight because we have that particular meeting was about against Islamophobia, and we have the rabbis and the priests and the imams. They all come together and they were fighting against Islamophobia. They say that it's not acceptable in Canada and even in the world. So I felt so good about it, and that was the same day I was supposed to fly here. That they wanted me to speak for us. They gave me 10 minutes. I said, no, I don't have time even for 2 minutes. I just say goodbye to them. Anyway, and thank you and goodbye. I was waiting for my chance, but it was too late. My flight was, in an hour, 2 hours time. So that's why it didn't happen. But alhamdulillah.
Okay, so that's the thing that you have done. So I heard that you're here in Malaysia because you wanted to establish some orphanage. So maybe you want to talk about those things and let us know what are the things that we can help and so on.
Okay, correct. I was about to say that in a few days I might be leaving for Johor Bahru because the Kadir office has offered me with I think 1.5 acres of land in Johor. And because we did fundraising in Ottawa and Montreal, so we collected about 150,000 Canadian, which is what, around 500 Malaysian ringgit. I think for the time being it's good enough just to have two levels of, we wanted to turn it into a dorm where we can help the refugees from Rohingya, the children being persecuted, and the parents pass away either in the waves or even there in Myanmar, and our children too, for the sake of yatim, and the reason being, so Muhammad said, if you help the yatim, you and I will be to show 2 of his fingers and say that akhirah, both of us will be, like he will help us, those who help the yatims, inshallah. Yes.
So there's the one also in Klang, I think?
Yes, you have the middle Klang. That I think there is a building that somebody wanted to for us to do. To renovate so that we can utilize the building, inshallah. So I have to see the 2-3 areas, but I'm also pleading to the floor if you know somebody who's really interested to help, us with the work. From here only, I went to see Dato Bandar yesterday because coincidentally he was in Montreal and he came to see me when the news got viral, especially in the Trudeau. I didn't say that, the Trudeau. They actually, yes, I was given the opportunity to meet the Prime Minister Trudeau, Justin Trudeau, because he sent somebody and said, okay, look, I really, there's somebody, would you like to see somebody who's active in our community? And they named me, and the 3-4 organizations, they named me. He said, okay, I would like to see her and be with her to see how she does. But then when the news came to me, and I received the phone, then he said, can we come and be with you guys? I said, where are you from? They said, we are from the office from our Prime Minister, and at the same time, we want to see if we can see you. But I said, at this time? I don't think so. And then he would say, why? Because, by the way, we have to bring a dog and let the dog sleep. I didn't invite him. I said, spontaneously, I said, I didn't invite him. Why do I have to prepare all the, because I was thinking of the dog with the saliva, and it's Ramadan, and then our, sisters and brothers will be stepping on the saliva, and we go, cleaning, and then when shall we finish? Like, how can we finish the job on time, right? So, but however, and my intention is not because I want to shun him, but it's just because I have this commitment, this big commitment ahead of me. I had to cook for 450 homeless, and then comes the refugees, another 200. It's all on the same day. So I don't know, it's spontaneously, I said, no, I cannot, I'm sorry. And then they were shocked, like, how can you say no to the Prime Minister? And I was so ashamed. Even until today, I'm still not proud. And anybody mentioned about that, I felt like a slap on my face. Like, how come you not, you say no to the Prime Minister? So anyway, my real reason being, I already committed myself on that day. I have to cook for so many, homeless people and this, because I commit myself. That is very important, the timing and commitment. In volunteerism also is involved timing. You have to really stick to your time and respect the time that you already promised, because otherwise our program will run, will be astray. So it's not easy to handle later. Yes, sorry.
So, before we go for Q&A, maybe there are things that you want to say to the younger generation.
Yes.
Because there are people here who feel that they need some kind of push. How to become a volunteer, how to feel in their hearts to give back to the community. Maybe you have some word of advice that can resonate in our minds and hearts.
Firstly, you have to be serious with your commitment. Have I got the right one?
Yes.
Yeah. Firstly, I would like to advise to the younger generation, you have to be serious with your commitment. Don't you promise one day and then you forget the next day. Firstly. Secondly, it's very, very important to have something to keep the things in your heart, to be pure and simple and sincere with whatever you promise to do. With yourself and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With Allah, it's very, very important. Because if you play around with your promise with people, and one day, sooner or later, the people will also play around with you. With the timing, or whatever, for whatever reason, you won't get the thing that you want. If you're sincere, deep in you, you have that in your heart, and tell yourself that you will improve, and then make sure you have connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I guess if you make the connection, you will not betray yourself and betray the others around you. Yeah? So I guess that's very important. Yes.
Short but sweet. It's so nice. So the idea is, I guess, to have commitment and to know that there is a purpose to things. Mm-hmm. It's just not for the sake of popularity, but when you put Allah in your heart, God, because regardless, God is universal. Mm-hmm. So you put it in your heart and you pledge yourself with that kind of feeling, definitely you'll put into your commitment and go further. So with that, I think I would like to open the floor for question and answer session. I know that some of you have some kind of questions. I see during the MB session there was a lot of questions. So this time around we'll open up for more questions, and maybe if you still have a burning desire to ask the MB, you can take the opportunity to ask the MB as well. Right. Thank you. Yes, sir. There's a microphone here.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Maslan. I had experience of having an NGO with tsunami work as well when I was in New York, and so I understand how difficult it was to raise funds. So how were you in raising funds at the early stage? I know now it could be easier because of you have the brand and things like that. But how was it 10 years, 20 years ago? How you get people to actually support you with their work? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Firstly, by then I was already in Concordia. You see the cooking that was happening not far, I think it's somewhere around that time. And I also was helping the McGill Student Association as well. Until today, McGill Student Association is still supporting us with financially, even for our second home, which is our the transition home. that we have currently. And yes, going back again to your question about how do I raise funds, I think you have to be a little creative. Because when I got this idea of chocolate, I just happened to pass by and I told my husband, wait a minute. And then he said, what? I said, look at the factory, the chocolate factory. You think I can buy the chocolate and make the students sell? And it's just come out like that. I think it's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It just, comes flowing. And then we went in, and then I spoke to the manager, said, no problem. You are really helping for the tsunami? I said, yes. And then he even didn't ask me for identification. So alhamdulillah, I went and I made a deal. So that's how we made like 18,000 just from the chocolate. And then word of mouth, but be careful, you always have to be sincere and people trust you. Once they know your work, once they know I don't take a cent, once they know that I struggle, I will be selling and waking up so early in the morning to struggle and send my food in the respective malls, it's a lot of work, a lot of energy involved. And then I managed to call people to volunteer, to inspire them to volunteer because they know, what are the causes, what the causes are for that purpose. And once they get to know where you're going, they're willing to be, behind you. I think I have some of my volunteers too, Rafida. She's also in Montreal before, and the husband and wife. And then so alhamdulillah. And here too, I have my family. I have Dato Wan Ramli. Where is he? I don't see him here. Dato Wan Ramli and Dato Fazlun. That's my niece, and I'm staying with her currently. And he's always on the go to help me, So I need help, basically, at this age especially. That time will come when something will happen to me. So I have to prepare all these youngsters, for to prepare mentally as well as physically, because we are heading for Ramadan, So I have to prepare way before and to organize better and tell them, look, don't forget Ramadan is coming. Or even from here, I'm still telling them, please go and find out from the universities how many students we can have for the day, and where we're going to cook. So now I think the Anglican Church is offering us the basement. They will renovate it, and we will be the first one to use that, and we can easily announce and say, I need freezers, that day for the whole entire month of Ramadan. Inshallah, easily I will get that. Then our, program will start rolling, and people keep on giving money just to help us to go through all this. But as I said, always based on trust, and also you make sure you have something ahead of you to tell them what you're going to do. What is your plan? Like I said about the ones that's going to Johor, because I have this plan of having this. Not only that, I said, okay, if the land is that big, what am I going to do? Like, if the land is that big, we need to do something so that to sustain the expenditure can be solved. And I said, we're going to have some chicken coop, and then maybe a little pond for the fish, so that we can use it for daily consumption with the vegetables, for example. We're going to plant veggie, so we don't have to go to the market. But there again, and then I think about, okay, how to bring in money then? Then maybe we open a grocery store, which we call Depenel. In Montreal, they call it Depenel. Supermarket, grocery store. So with that, maybe we can help, how to see. And when people know that you're trying your best, and then not just sitting in sitting in the chair and start to order, of course nobody will like you. But if you are there to struggle and do this, they will come with you. That's what Allah promised that, right? If you do something good, He will always have something better for you. Somebody will be just around there to help you out for the burden you're facing, inshallah. Yeah?
Any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I just want to ask you, what was the first step you took, and how did you end up on the other side of the world? Like, what brought you to Canada in the first place?
Oh, it's just a matter of, because when I was in Singapore, I was teaching in the Singapore for special children with special needs. So I had my degree in that. And so when I saw the advertisement, and in KL, and I was really, I don't know why, I like the Western cuisine just for a change. I love them, don't forget, don't misunderstand that I love the Malaysian cuisine too, as much as I like something new, but I will not forget the belacan too. So in this context, when I was I was taking my, what do you call that, because we have to be trained to be the chef. That was that time in Damansara. So I saw the ad that says that they wanted somebody, the school really need a special teacher for children with special needs. So I applied, and out of 42, and I managed to secure my place. I got one because I think I was older than the others, so they thought maybe I could take care of myself. So I got the job there. But just within a span of 2 months, I gave up the job because we were handling the soup with the pot, what do you call that, bones and flats. And I was asked to serve if my assistant is not there. So I didn't, it didn't fit me at all, because with that, if the children, they drop the soup on me, then I cannot pray or something. As a Muslim, I'm always thinking about my duty to Allah too. So I think after 2 months, I told them I really have to back off. Like I like to, what do you call that, to give up this job. So when the guy, he knows that I'm giving up this job, then what am I going to do? So he said, no, you're going to stay with me. I'll pay you exactly the same amount. That time was, I think, 1,500 American. Now, it was quite big then. I'm talking about 30 years ago. So I stick to the job with the family this time, and he gave me for holidays only because he had a Down syndrome child, this millionaire. And at the same time, I met my husband there. He's an architect in that house, that castle that he was building, that I was staying. It's a castle. It's called Chateau Nassau. So anyway, so when I stayed put, because I got married to him, right? So until today, he's still with me, alhamdulillah. And I think some of the audience also know him, and because he came last year to be here, right? So alhamdulillah. So things went on fine, but this year he could not come because of his commitment to this job. He has a lot of orders and for the mosque and for this. Alhamdulillah. So yes, is there anything?
Any more questions from the floor? Oh yes. Oh, Rafida.
Yeah, you do Rafida.
Yeah, here, it's in the middle. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm so happy to be here supporting Sister Sabria. I just want to maybe ask Sister Sabria, how can Malaysian people to be part of Sister Sabria Foundation, as we just launched this foundation in Montreal, and as one of the admin for Sister Sabria Facebook page, so many people in Malaysia asking me how can they involve with Sister Sabria Foundation, or how can they participate in this beneficial foundation?
Okay. Yes, we're talking about the volunteers. If you're talking about Malaysians going to Canada, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Or here?
From here, or they want to join?
There are two things, because one is we registered under Sister Sabria Foundation there, but it's not being recognized yet as a charitable organization. So I have to be extra careful with that, because I'm allowed only to take advantage of the system of Canada and go from like Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver, within Canada's the scope, but not outside. So, but when here, then I realized that we have limited budget, so we have to go through and see. And I checked with some officers concerned, and maybe somebody on the floor can also advise me what to do, because instead of saying Sister Sabria Foundation, we can still call it Yayasan Sister Sabria, which is a different name. But the money that is we are trying to get from Canada can be channeled into this new organization, which I still know. I'm still in doubt. Is that true? Is that somebody who knows the system here? Or we'll find out. Okay, we can find out about that. Because I don't want to do something that is weird and not acceptable in our society. Because I still love Malaysians. You know, I don't have problem with Canada and Malaysia. And because even when I stood up for my national anthem, I was like really deeply touched, you know, because for years on end I didn't have this song in my head, you know. So, but Alhamdulillah, it came back to me. Alhamdulillah. Yes. Yes, Sister Rafida was asking about if what if it's happening here, then when we open this new organization, like under, for example, Sabria, the Yayasans, the Sabria or something, and then also we require all these volunteers to come out, and we need the responsible directors involved to be more, you know, active, and those who want to participate, they know where to reach, you know, and then we can start from there, inshallah. Yeah.
Any more questions from the floor? Right. So I guess thank you so much, Sister Sabria, for making it.
Most welcome.
I know that there's a lot of takeaways from this session, but ideally what we want our participants, our students, to think about is that it's not just about us, it's not just about yourself, it's about the community at large. It's about giving back. It's about understanding that we serve a bigger purpose in life. So these are the things, these are the takeaways that I guess we should learn. Besides that, most probably if you're ever in Montreal, in Ramadan, and you want to help out Sister Sabria,
yes,
please
you're
do
most
so.
welcome.
Yeah.
Anybody, currently I have 4 volunteers from Malaysia leaving some are leaving with me to join me in Ramadan, because it is really a blessing and it's really something soothing to think of people's attitude and how they feel in Ramadan, right? They want to do every bit of it, like to please Allah Ta'ala. So now with that, you know, like I have 4 sisters, one of whom is Aida, and she's currently my PA, for example, because I need a lot of help. And she's joining me. She's going to stay with me for 6 months, and then I'm encouraging other sisters who can take care of them. So we are going to take care of the lodging and the food, but they have to prepare themselves for the flight, the cost of the flight, inshallah. And there again we were talking about the volunteers, right, in Montreal, inshallah. We have lots of activities in Ramadan, especially for the Syrian refugees. We every Saturdays, and we give them free food, and we mingling with them and the people with disabilities. We will fetch them and bring them to the mosque, and have all these people like joining as a big family. So they were always ever so glad that somebody picked them up and put them there, so they have ample opportunity to mingle with the others. Alhamdulillah.
So there it is. If you're ever in Montreal, do knock to Sister Sabria's door. Food and logistics is going to be provided. So I think that wraps up our session. Thank you so much for listening. So I'll pass back the mic to our 2 dedicated MCs.
I think before that, can I say something? Just briefly. Sister Sabariah. Sabria, Sabariah.
Yeah, it's an Arabic name.
It's an Arabic, yeah, I know. It's an Arabic name. Ladies and gentlemen, I suppose all of you agree with me that Sister Sabria really inspired us today. Yeah? I've been so small. I've been so small, you know, listening to her stories and narrative, you know, how she struggled to give to the community. So I hope that we can also share your experience with us in Perak. I would like to extend our invitation to you as well. You almost, I think all of you almost made me, I think I cry, yeah. I must confess that listening to the story. And I hope you come back again and then come to Perak. And especially, the one of the most important point, Sister Sabria narrated to us just now about how living in a world of multi-religion, multi-ethnic, that can apply also in the context of Malaysia. People can work in all kind of places, and in all places of worship. That goes beyond religion, because when it comes to giving to humanity, it always goes beyond ethnic line or religious line. Let us share this very ideal moment and a very ideal principle. We hope that one day Malaysia will embrace this. We must move together to embrace this. Especially living in the country where polarizations begins to take its place. But we in the group here must be able to work towards the other directions. So once again, Sister Sabria, I'm sorry for taking, I know it comes from my heart as well, with all sincerities. We are looking forward to have more Sabariah in Malaysia. Thank you.
There's a Reader's Digest that Sister Sabria was in. So she's giving it to Yang Amat Berhormat, Dato Seri. Also an autograph of her besides a picture. So she's a celebrity now.